Hayley White, yeah?
Yes, hi, I'm Hayley White, and I've come to speak to you today for my project bid, which is to compare the distribution of grey seals around Cadreevy and the Falmouth area. I've got a little booklet here for each of you. That's my booklet with my proposal in it, with the locations
Thank you.
and what I plan to do.
Very good.
No. Okay. The reason why I would like to put this bid to you is there's been a lot of research and surveys done around Cadreevy area through Soothsayer, who is the founder of the Cornwall Seal Group, and she does the Cadreevy seal surveys. And she's got quite a lot of reports. I've got a couple of her papers and journals here, if you'd like to have a look at them as well. And I've also got a paper on the distribution around Cornwall already for seals. So she's looked at quite a lot about the distribution of seals down at Cadreevy, of the grey seals, but around the Falmouth area there's been almost no sort of surveys and recorded data on the distribution of grey seals. My interest is to compare the distribution from Falmouth to Cadreevy, one being on the north coast and one being on the south coast, to try and find out the differences between the distribution, the breeding, and why there might be more grey seals in the Cadreevy area to the Falmouth area also. The proposed research I plan to use for this is the participation in the National Trust Seal Watch, who David Hunter is, he runs the Seal Watch for the National Trust. Also participation with Soothsayer with the Cornwall Seal Group, doing the monitoring down at Cadreevy. And I'd also like to use the Harbour Commission's pilot boat to go out on trips to Blackrock to do the survey around Falmouth as well, to get the data from Falmouth. From using the boat for the Harbour Commission, in return I'd like to do some training and seal identification, so I'd be giving something back to the Harbour Commission in that way. Resources I would need for this, obviously I need the Harbour Commission's boat, obviously I just said that I'd like to give something back, and then doing the ID with the staff on the boat. All the other things I would need, such as cameras and the tick sheets, I can all get myself, and binoculars which I could borrow from college, so it's quite a low cost sort of project that I would like to put in. I'd like to do photography of all of the seals that I survey as well, so I've got backup pictures of them. Another thing as well is if we could bring seal surveying into Falmouth, it'd be nice to introduce it to the public. Down at Cadreevy, it's quite a big thing for the public to go along to their seal watch days and to go and sight the seals and to collect the data and to be part of the group when they meet in the evenings and have social evenings. It'd be nice for Falmouth to have a group like that where people from the public could go along with their children, and also get people a bit more involved in the project, and to possibly have papers and journals written about the Falmouth Seal Group, not just the Cadreevy Seal Group.
Hi guys, I'm Ben, and like Hayley, I want to. I'm proposing to do some studies on the grey seals on Blackrock off the estuary, because I know that there's been a proposal to install a camera in August on Blackrock, and I would love to go over that data for you and analyse it all, process it, and work out the distribution and behaviour of the seals over the period from August till April. And I'd like to know kind of how many are there at any given time, and why there possibly be more during, well, if there's more during the summer months or the winter months, and why that is. I can observe their behaviour. And I wouldn't really need any funding for this, so as long as you can get the camera installed, which is kind of what the whole project is relying on, really.
Yeah.
So it's
Carlton also become the money.
I'm sure it'll be there.
yeah. Well, that'd be great if it could be. I mean, otherwise I wouldn't be able to get it off of Pendennis Point. I could observe off of there, or again, like Hayley said, use the pilot boat. If that'd be possible.
This is going to be interesting, the pilot boat use.
I mean, the trouble with pilot boat is the fact it will tend to be hours out in town.
Yeah.
So you'd have to sort of pack up for the day, and the amount of transits to get down to that rock may be relatively few. So it may not be the best way of actually getting observation for that. I mean, in terms of the assumption that numbers of sightings can be directly correlated to seal populations, I mean, how does that work? Because I mean, there must be times where there are plenty of seals there, but just not observed. So, what confidence can you have?
I suppose the more regular your visits and your data collection is, the more accurate the data is. I've got a Gantt chart in my my proposal there, which shows going on a weekly basis to each site to get the data. But like you say, there may be seals in the area when we're not there doing the observations and the data collection. But what I can say is the more regularly you do the
Would the webcam data, if it goes ahead, be more reliable for you than rather than trying to do manual observations? Because at least you're recording over a fixed and repeatable period.
Because it's there all the
It's
time.
constantly there. You can go. We can go over past periods. Look.
Yeah, we're not certain on what our battery supply is going to give us in terms of live transmissions or how frequently we'll get the data back.
Right.
But I mean, there will be a recording cycle. I mean, Harry's much better placed to talk on than I am.
Yeah, we're hoping that you'll get a photograph every, you'll get photos taken every 10 seconds, or possibly a live feed, but photos might be better. It will be a small delay, but it's only minutes that we'll be able to get the feed back.
Yes.
We'll give you more information when it's up and running.
It would be nice if there was a location around Falmouth, which was a lot easier to get to, where the seals have been known to breed and to sort of live, to sort of integrate the public a bit more. But with it being on Blackrock, it's quite difficult. Around Pendennis, there has been some sightings of seals, but it would just be
I read the on the other side.
Yeah, so it's just be a case of again monitoring to see how their progress is.
How well can you see from a good pair of binoculars off Pendennis Point?
Use a telescope.
Mm. Well, you could set up a telescope and a camera, couldn't you?
Yeah.
But you can't
Or
see
a-
them with
or a
binoculars
video.
from
Yeah. But maybe that's
You'd be
a
able
van
to
or a car or something. You could leave it for 24
Yeah.
24 hours.
Yeah.
It'd be quite hard to record behaviour. So I wanted.
That's a different story.
Yeah.
This is just counting because your identification needs to be up close and personal to take your photographs. You'll have to go and leave on Black Rock.
Well, one of the ideas I think that we had from last year was if we did a good enough training for the harbour pilots and then gave them a very simple tick sheet, then when they're out anyway, they could tick.
Okay.
That, and then we were thinking that would solve, and Hayley's pretty good at doing their own trainings.
Yeah, so, and then sort of we'd be giving you something and you'd be giving it back to us, which would be lovely.
We have already checked with the pilots whether we could have some young students on board, and they've already said that they would love it.
I think a lot of the students as well, if they were to go on the
I bet
boat,
they would,
would be quite happy to help out with
Yeah,
the stuff.
absolutely.
I mean, there is an issue in terms of the fact that if they are going to be out for 6 hours and they get horribly seasick and there's no way back for them. I mean, I would.
It's a learning curve.
I mean, there are.
Would you say it's a learning curve?
But actually, the training and checklists, I mean, that could work very well because the pilot boat crews would probably be quite interested in, for their own purposes, actually reporting what's on there as they go past.
Yeah.
So in conjunction with the webcam data, that might be
And
interesting.
if you speak to Captain Barnaby, if he's still out there, he's a great photographer.
Yeah.
He'll
But he's not there so much now, is he?
But I mean, the other thing about it, I suppose, if you are, it depends on the way that we present the webcam data. But I mean, potentially involving the public, if there is a way of actually sort of putting a monitor onto the Pendennis headland, so they can actually go out and see close-ups at the same time as going long distance. They might find that quite appealing.
And I suppose if you could get somebody into the Moor side as well by the castle, because that looks at the other side, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That would be if you could coordinate that. And I would have thought there's plenty of
What
people.
about doing it from the two castles, getting in touch with English Heritage?
Yeah.
Well, you're a bit further away, but I mean, you want if you're in, and that's why the castle's there, isn't it? If you're down on Pendennis Point, in front of the castle, and the same with St Moors, they're about the nearest points. Right?
I'm just thinking though, in the castle you can have fixed points.
And put
we
fixed
can
cameras
use-
on.
Yeah, put fixed cameras and
You could
also
do, yeah.
potentially put stuff on their roof, which they already have.
As long as it's, as
From
long as
my point of view, I'd like to see your recording form for the pilots before you go for the summer,
Yeah.
because that way they can be collecting data even while you are away over
of
the
course,
summer.
yeah.
And possibly including a tick for things like dolphins.
Yeah, I was hoping
As
to
well,
do that as
because-
well, just because out of personal
Basking shark.
interest about what. Yeah, originally I would like to have done the basking sharks, but I can't do them now. So no, it'd be interesting to see what other mammals are seen around Falmouth at Gadruvia as well, just out of interest.
So I had a few sightings of dolphins in Parkshire.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Rachel's